ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्तकांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So welcome to Science of Self-Realization reading. We'll continue where we had left, that is chapter number 7. Yeah, we had just started this particular letter that Lynn Ludwig had written to Prabhupada in the 1970s. She met two boys, two disciples of Srila Prabhupada in San Fernando, and she found that they had very negative outlook towards people. Negative outlook towards people. Oh. Okay. And she wrote a letter to Prabhupada saying that, that they had too much negative outlook towards people they meet, and those who represent God should be liberal, should be open. That was her point. And we were about to read Srila Prabhupada's reply to her. So here we'll start. Please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge receipt of your letter from California, and I have noted that the contents carefully. Although due to extensively traveling and preaching in a tour in India, I have not had the opportunity to reply to you at length until now. Your complaint is that you have met two of my young disciples in California and that they appear to you to have a very negative outlook towards people they meet. Of course, I do not know the case and what is the circumstance, but kindly forgive my beloved disciples for their unkindness or indiscretion on their part. After all, to give up one's life completely for serving the Lord is not an easy thing. And Maya, or the illusory material energy, tries especially hard to again entrap those who have left her service to become devotees. Therefore, in order to withstand the attack of Maya and remain strong under conditions of temptation, young or inexperienced devotees in the neophyte stage of devotion service will sometimes adopt an attitude against those things or persons that may possibly be harmful or threatening to their tender devotional creepers. They may even overindulge in such feeling just to protect themselves, and thus they may appear to some non-devotees who are perhaps themselves still very much enamored by the material energy of Maya to be negative or pessimistic. So, so basically, she had the experience, where devotees may have said that, we don't want to meet materialistic people, we don't want to eat at their place, we don't want to talk to them, you know. So, hearing such things, she felt like they are too unkind. And then Prabhupada explained that they may be unkind, so please forgive them. And when somebody is neophyte, in the neophyte stage, one has to be very careful of whom we are meeting, what surroundings we are, and all that. So, in that case, we may have to reject certain people, certain situations, and all that, just to protect our tender devotional creeper. We may overreact to certain things. This is what Prabhupada is trying to say. That they may have overreacted on all that just to protect themselves. It was not out of disrespect. Now, Prabhupada is going to explain about this thing about devotional service and how the material energy traps us. So, I need some volunteer who would like to read from here.
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. But the factual, sorry, but the actual fact is that this material world is a miserable, negative place, full of danger at every step. It is dukkhalayam aswasatam, a temporary abode of death, birth, disease, and old age, a home of suffering and pain only. To come to the platform of understanding these things as they are is not very common, and therefore persons who attain to it are described as great souls.
Yeah, wait.
Mom, yeah, please.
So, see, what Prabhupada is saying is they were very unkind, you may find them, and they were telling, okay, this place is very materialistic and all that. But Prabhupada is saying there is a truth in it. It is not like they are false. There is a truth in it. And that's what Prabhupada is explaining now. That the material world is dukkhalem ashashvatam. It's a place of dukkha. Dukkha means misery. Ashashvatam means temporary. Okay. And it is filled with maya. So Maya energy, the material energy covers all this dukkhalem ashashvatam. See, we go through birth, death, old age, and disease, right?
Yes,
All
ma'am.
of us go through these things. But they affect us only for some time and then we forget about it. The moment we become healthy, we forget about the disease condition, right? We have already forgotten our pains in the birth. Any baby that has come to this world has come laughing or crying.
Crying, always crying.
Do we remember that pain?
No, after
No.
some time.
Similarly, disease also we don't remember.
Yeah,
In old age, we may remember because old age is a continuous thing, right?
yeah.
So old age, there is definitely some pain and all that. So if you meet old people, when old people sit together, what all topics they talk?
Whatever, I think normally, I don't know, but maybe about the childhood or the younger parts, previous, past things.
Past, previous, okay. What about
And they talk
present?
about the issues like with present how they are suffering like health issues or the disease.
Yeah.
They
You
talk
will
about.
see immediately they'll say, oh, I got a pain here. I went to that doctor, but that doctor's medicine didn't help. I went to another doctor, you know,
Yeah,
because
yes,
it's a
yes,
constant thing. So sometimes old age, gives us that feeling. Yes, there is pain in this world, right? But in case of birth and disease, now we may forget. Old age is not so easy to forget. Once we are in old age, now it is not so easy. Things become very tough day by day. And death is something, we are taken so many life and death, if somebody dies also, then for certain period only um, we are affected by a death of some relative or something, right? uh, but after month, 2 month, 3 month, 4 month, we again become normal. We come back to our life, right? So in this material world there is pain always. It is not like it's not there. And Maya is very interesting. It covers it and it makes us feel that there is no pain, or even if there is pain, there is good time also. Okay. So yeah, continue. Mam upetya punarjanma dukhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmana sam siddhim paramam gati. So whoever understands this thing, that this material world is dukhalayam ashashvatam, right? They are actually very spiritually advanced. So this is one of the criteria of being spiritually advanced. That we need to understand that this world that we are living in is painful, is temporary. Okay. There are some so-called spiritualists who will say life is beautiful and all that, and they will remain in that kind of mode, in that kind of thinking that it's so nice here. What is the problem and all that? But actually, from Bhagavad Gita perspective, this is dukhalem ashashvate. This is dukhalem ashashvate. Okay, continue from here, please.
Okay, actually, one second. This means that those who have understood that the material worlds are places of misery and temporality, Dukkhalyam Asasatam, never return here again, and because they are Mahatmana, the great souls, Krishna keeps them with him because they have qualified themselves to escape this nasty place by becoming his pure devotees. This verse is spoken by Krishna or God himself in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, verse 15. Who can be a more final authority? The point is that to make advancement in spiritual life, one must view everything material with a pessimistic eye, unless it is utilized to serve and please Krishna. We are not very much hopeful for any lasting pleasure or satisfaction for our deepest cravings within this realm of gross matter.
Okay. So here Prabhupada is saying we need to have some pessimist attitude towards material world. Okay. Now you tell me, is this the right attitude to have?
So, Prabhuji, from the words, it looks not right, because pessimistic things generally we see it in a negative way.
Right. So do you agree with this?
Yeah, but when we read it complete, yes, there is a bigger meaning that because as it is, there is a negative thing which is material as compared to the spiritual life. So we should see that negative thing as negative. So pessimistic view in this is good.
Okay. Is Bhagavad Gita only literature which tells about this pessimistic view? Do other religions also say?
Hopefully they should say, because
Huh?
this is correct. Yeah, hopefully they should say. I'm not aware, but they should say.
Okay. Okay, in all religion it is said actually. Now it depends on the spiritualist to point out the main thing. So uh, in Christianity there's a saying that this world is just a bridge.
Hmm.
Now what is a bridge made for?
For crossing
Yeah,
something, yeah, land or
yeah. So that means this
water.
is a temporary thing. It's a temporary realm, right? Are we to make a house on the bridge?
No, that is
Yeah, so that's the thing. In other religions, they talk it indirectly about the same pessimistic view of this material world. Okay, so it is not like only Bhagavad Gita is talking. Other religions also talk. But what happens in other religions? It depends on the leaders of those religions that they need to point out this thing to their audience. Some point out, some don't. In Bhagavad Gita is also translated by many people. But not everyone comes to this verse. Dukkhalaya Shashvatam. This verse is there, 8.15 is there. But somehow it is read and it is forgotten. So this pessimist attitude is required. Can you tell me why it is required? What is the benefit of this pessimist
it
attitude?
will keep us alert
Yeah, it will keep
from.
us alert. Yes.
uh,
It will keep us aware that this is not our home, right? See, sometimes what happens is we think that, okay, if I get this much bank balance, if I get 2 3 crores in my bank. uh, if my wife or husband is very happy with me, if my children are listening to me, I don't have any loan, I have a 4 bedroom apartment or I have a bungalow, I have 2 cars with me, I have 3 servants, then I'll be very happy, right? Because I have all these things, I'll be very happy, right? People think like this, right?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
And some people do have this kind of bank balance, number of servants and cars and all kinds of facilities. Do you
True.
see them taking to spirituality very seriously?
No, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
They are.
they may sometimes show. They may sometimes show that they are religious. They may do some yagya or something. They may show. Taking to spirituality is this is very much required. This pessimistic attitude is very required. Okay.
Mhm.
So probably is going to talk about more in this matter. Let's go forward. Huh.
You refer to the word love several times in your letter, but the actual fact is that there is no love in this material world. That is false propaganda. What they call love here is lust only, or desire for personal sense gratification. कामेश क्रोधेश रजोगुण समुद्भव
Mahashatra.
महासन महापाप्मा विद्धि एनम इह विहीर्णम वेरिणाम. Krishna tells Arjun, his disciples, that it is lust only, which is the all-devouring, sinful enemy of this world. Bhagavad Gita 3:37. In the Vedic language, there is no word for materialistic love as we call it in the present day. The word kama describes lust or material desire, not love. But the word that we find in the Vedas for actual love is prema, means one's love of God only. Outside of loving God, there is no possibility of loving. Rather, there is lusty desires only. Within this atmosphere of matter, the entire range of human activities, and not only every activity of human beings, but all living entities, is based upon, given impetus by, and thus polluted by sex desire, the attraction between male and female. For that sex life, the whole universe is spinning around and suffering. That is the harsh truth. So called love here means that you you satisfy my senses, I gratify. You gratify my senses, I I will gratify your senses. And as soon as that gratification stops, immediately there is divorce, separation, quarrel, and hatred. So many things are going on under the false conception of love. Actual love means love of God Krishna. Everyone wants to repose his loving tendency in some object which is in his opinion worthy. But the question is one of ignorance only, because people have a poor fund of knowledge about where to find that supreme lovable object who is actually worthy to accept and reciprocate their love. People simply do not know. There is no proper information. As soon as you have some attachment for anything material, it will kick you on the face, deteriorate, and disappoint you. It is bound to dissatisfy and frustrate you. That's a fact. But these young boys in your country and all over the world are accepting, yes, that is a fact. And they are getting the right information from Krishna.
Yeah. So the love that is there in this world is actually lust. Lust means to enjoy, or lust means to satisfy one's own senses is lust. So here, love that we say is actually that you gratify my senses and I gratify your senses. Uh, See, there are so many so-called love marriages that happen, right? We see within our extended family member, and in Hollywood, Bollywood, and all that, we see this so-called love. But why is it that sometimes their marriages fail, they divorce and all that?
Most of the time,
Yeah, why do you think?
uh,
It's based on
as
this reason only.
Material, yeah.
Yeah, that means at the start they are satisfying each other's senses. Okay,
Yeah.
but one day, how much can one satisfy?
Mm,
It cannot continue like that, right? Because everyone is limited. So the variety that we are looking in other person, right, is also limited. You're getting, let's say, if you buy an iPhone, you may like it the very first day, the second day, the third day, the first month, the second month, third month, fourth month, fifth month, sixth month, seventh month, eighth month. Let's say it is the 10th or the 11th or the 12th month of using that iPhone. Is it giving you the same satisfaction that it gave you in the very first day, the first month when you bought it?
Mostly no. You
Yeah,
will,
it
it's in
happens.
only in the
So,
initially, yeah, beginning.
yeah, everything is very initial. See, even in marriages, na, before the marriage, the boy and the girl are talking so much on the phone. 1 hour is going, 2 hours is going, 3 hours is going. The phone call is going in midnight, early morning. Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
But after marriage, what happens?
Fighting.
After marriage, I don't want to hear you. Can you keep the phone quickly? Can you talk quickly? Can you speak quickly? Make it short. Don't talk too much. Right? Yes or
Right.
no?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
it is. It is.
It is the same person. But before marriage, we were talking 3 hours late in the night. Right? But what happened? So point is the nature of this world is like everything is limited now. So the variety the other person gives us is again limited only. It is not unlimited variety. So what happens is that gratification that enjoyment that we are getting from the other person, it it reduces. It reduces. That curve reduces. It's like the dampening effect curve. Like, let me show you. See this. At the start, it is very high intensity, but as time goes on, it is reducing and it's coming back to zero, right?
Mm,
So what? So
yes.
everything in this world is having this dampening effect. At the start, it will give us a lot of pleasure, but it cannot sustain that variety. So it has to reduce, it has to reduce, it has to reduce, it has to reduce, and one day it becomes zero. You take it with anything, you take it with any person in this world, it will always go like that. So even if beautiful people will marry each other, right? At the start, they will be holding their hands and going here and there and embracing each other. But after few years, these two people are fighting like cats and dogs, right? Okay. So the point here is what to do in this situation. It just happens, right? All these things happen. If you take anything, any car, anything in this world, wife, husband, parents, brother, sister, it's going to be this dampening effect. This dampening effect is going to be there. Hmm? So what do the Vedas recommend if we are in such a relationship and it's going to be damping effect is going to go happen? What does over the period of time? What does the Vedas recommend then? Let's take example of marriage. The initial years are very nice. Some say only 6 months is good, or some say first year is only good. Now, what to do from the second year? What is your opinion? Should we separate? Should there be divorce? What should happen?
You have to live together, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So, what is that called?
Adjustments or whatever it is. I know the adjustment.
Fine,
It is
adjustment and all
understanding.
that.
Understanding.
Understanding, okay. I'm looking for a particular word.
Mm,
Adjustment, understanding, fine. Let's say there is no adjustment, then
mutual respect, Prabhuji.
mutual respect, fine. Let's say there is no in some situations, right? There is no adjustment only. Then what will you do? So it is duty.
Duty, yeah, Prabhuji,
Yeah.
duty.
So
Respective, yeah.
yeah, in this material world, right? If there is if what sustains is the dutiful nature sustains actually. Nothing else sustains. So even if like you may buy a gadget or car, you may like it, but if you get carried on with the emotions, then it's going to be damping effect. So what does the Veda says? You go with the attitude of duty towards anything in life. Don't go with the attitude of gratification. Go with the attitude of dharma. Go with the attitude of duty, and you'll be able to sustain it. Getting?
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Okay. I just diverted a little bit so that we understand this thing. That it is not like okay, there should not be any love marriage or something. No, it is not like there should not be sex. It is not like that. But it should be based on dharma. It should be based on duty. Like husband and wife will definitely have sexual life, but it should be based on dharma. It should not be based on this principle. You gratify my senses, I gratify your senses. Getting? See, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in the 7th chapter only, he says this thing. I'll just point it out. 11th verse, he says, 7.11. Balam balvatam chaham काम राग विवर्जितम धर्म विरुद्ध भूतेषु कामोस्मि भरत ऋषभः. I am strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life, which is not contrary to the religious principles. Dharma. Viruddha means opposite. It is not opposite to dharma. That sex life, that enjoyment is Krishna. Getting? So if Prabhupada is saying here, oh, it is polluted by sex desire and all that, it is not rejected, okay? If it is done according to dharma, then it is Krishna. But most of the time, it is not dharma. It is based on this principle. You gratify my senses, I gratify your senses. And when we stop gratifying each other's senses, we should separate. We should divorce. We should go away. This is what is happening in the world. But dharma includes duty also. And that duty is duty bound means what is duty bound? If you're duty bound to your work, what does it mean?
Your actions are as per prescribed things which you are supposed to do.
Right. And if the work gives you happiness or doesn't give you happiness, then what will you do?
It's that's difficult. It should give happiness, otherwise, I think
No,
difficult
not
to
every
decide.
time it gives happiness. No. Every work
It
that we
is
do, whether in IT field or in shop or as a policeman or anything, there are times when it is very difficult. That particular work is giving us a lot of stress, lot of problems, right?
uh, yeah.
When we
Still
have
we do.
yeah,
Still we do.
when we are having project delivery and all that in IT field, it is stressful. Yes or no?
Yes. 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 Yes.
Then we give it
Yes.
up or what? We don't give it up.
No.
We
No.
become duty bound. See, when a mother has a child, has a baby, the baby doesn't sleep at 9 p.m. It gets up at 9 p.m. and sleeps at 3 a.m. Yes or no?
Yes, yes,
So then the mother should say, "Oh, I wanted baby for my love, but baby is giving me trouble, so I won't take care of it." No, the mother becomes duty bound. This is my child, I need to take care of it, and then she takes that suffering, right? The father also takes
yes,
the suffering. Why? Because that is not based on you gratify my senses, I gratify senses. No, it is based on what? Duty. It is based on dharma. Getting?
yes, yes,
Similarly, work. It may sometimes give us some pleasure, okay, and sometimes it will be very tiring, and it will be very troublesome. But we have to go and do our duty, whether we like it or not, right? So it should be based on dharma. Hmm? Okay. So, okay, continue this. Everyone wants to repose. Someone else want to
yeah,
read?
Yes, Prabhuji, I'll read.
Okay, go ahead.
Everyone wants to repose his loving tendency in some object which is, in his opinion, worthy. But the question is one of ignorance only. Because people have a poor fund of knowledge about where to find that supreme lovable object who is actually worthy to accept and reciprocate their love. People simply do not know. There is no proper information. As soon as you have some attachment for anything material, it will kick you on the face, deteriorate and disappoint you. It's bound to dissatisfy and frustrate you. That is a fact. But these young boys in your country and all over the world are accepting, yes, that is a fact, and they are getting the right information from Krishna. बहूनां जन्मनामन्ते ज्ञानवान् मां प्रपद्यते वासुदेवः सर्वं इति स महात्मा सुदुर्लभः. After many births and deaths, he who is actually wise surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Again, Krishna uses that word Mahatma, great soul. Therefore, our devotees that you have met are not ordinary boys and girls. No, they are to be considered actually wise, great souls because they have experienced in many births the miserable disease of material life and have become disgusted. Therefore, they are seeking higher knowledge. They are seeking something better. And when they find Krishna and surrender unto him, they become Mahatmas, who are actually situated in knowledge. This material world is just like a prison house. It is a punishing place meant to bring us to that point of becoming disgusted, surrendering at last to Krishna and going back to our original nature of eternal life in bliss and complete knowledge. Therefore, it is to the credit of these devotees that they have done what is Sudurlabhaha, very rare among all men in human society.
Okay, okay. So, what is Sudurlabha? Very rare. What is that rareness?
Coming to the Krishna or knowing about the
To
Krishna.
become disgusted and surrendered to Krishna at last. Okay? To take to spiritual life. This all thing is Sudurlabha. It's very rare. Now, how much rare is this? I'll just give you example how much rare is this. Translation. Just a minute. I'm not able to remember the verse. What else is maintaining? Okay, sorry. Maybe shooting 14 volt. Okay. Okay, continue reading. I will find out. By surrendering.
Yeah, by surrendering to Krishna, one will find the final object in which to invest his love. Love of God is present in everyone, just like fire in an unlit match, but it is covered over. But if one somehow or other develops his dormant love of God, and Krishna becomes his supreme adorable object, supreme friend, supreme master, or supreme lover, then he shall never again come disappointed or unhappy. Rather, because his loving propensity is rightfully placed. మచ్చిత్త మద్గత ప్రాణ బోధయంతః పరస్పరం కథయంతశ్చ మాం నిత్యం తుష్యంతి చ రమంతి చ. The devotee whose life is surrendered to Krishna is always enjoying great satisfaction and bliss, and he is constantly enlightened, always positive, not negative, as you say, Bhagavad Gita 10.9. The advanced devotee is the friend of everyone. The Yoga Yukto Vishuddhatma, purified soul engaged in loving devotional service to Krishna, is Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma, dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. In another place, Krishna claims that Yo Mad Bhaktaha Same Priyaha, his devotee who is very dear to him. Adveshta Sarvabhutanam Maitraha Karuna Evacha. He is not envious but is a kind friend to all living entities. The devotee is supposed to be furthermore equal to everyone. Panditaha Samadarshinaha. He never discriminates saying this one is good, this one is bad. No, we need to move up. Yes. These are descriptions of the more advanced stages of Krishna consciousness that devotees get by development of mature knowledge. At present, many of our students are young boys. They are learning gradually, and the process is so effective, certain, and authorized that if they stick to it, they will become to the right point, as you say, of loving. But that love is not material, so it should not be judged on the false sentimental platform of ordinary mundane dealings. That is our point. Therefore, to say they are not loving may be true from the materialist point of view, they have given up affection for family, friends, wife, country, race, and so on, which is all based upon the bodily conception of life, concept of life, or flickering sense gratification. They have become a little detached from Maya's love or lust, and they want Krishna's love or endless, fully rewarding love, but they have not yet developed to that point. That's all. We cannot expect that all of a sudden your countrymen, who are addicted to so many bad habits, will give up eating flesh, taking intoxicants, having illicit sex, and so many other nasty things, and overnight become great, self realized. That is utopian. But just being initiated as Krishna's devotee puts one in the topmost category of human society. स बुद्धिमान मनुष्येषु स युक्तः कृष्ण कर्मकृत्. He is intelligent in human society. He is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities, and although such a devotee may not yet have advanced to the highest form of spiritual understanding. Still, he is to be considered the most exalted.
Wait, I'm in a meeting.
Yeah. Exalted personality, regardless of any temporary frailties.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. The battery of my laptop.
Okay. Maybe the last paragraph is pending. Prabhu. Till that,
Okay.
till there I read. Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, a lot of things Prabhupada talked about it. Um, okay, so we understood that it is very rare to surrender to Krishna. I was searching for a verse, but somehow I didn't find it. Um, it says what it cannot be achieved in the 14 planet system, something like that, you know. Okay, now what happens when one becomes a devotee? Machit mata gada prana. So they are having tushyantica ramantica, meaning they are getting satisfaction and bliss just by discussing about Krishna. Just about discussing about Krishna, they are getting satisfaction. And they're coming to the Sarva Bhutanam, uh, they're coming to a platform where they become Priya of Krishna. They become very dear to Krishna. Okay. And then Prabhupada defends, his disciples. They have given affection for family and all that, and even bodily life, and they are getting detached from Maya's love, and they want only Krishna's love. Hmm? So we need to see, how they are growing. Hmm? like like if you see here, they have left meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, which is very common in America. So 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 they have become very intelligent in the human society by avoiding all these things and taking to spirituality completely. And sometimes they may do some mistake, then still they have to be considered saintly. And that's the verse Prabhupada quoted from Bhagavad Gita. Apichet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhakt sadhu reva samantavya samak vyavasito hi sa. Even if a devotee commits the most abominable actions, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated. To err is human. There may be some mistakes, but if one is on the right path, then he is properly situated, even though he may commit a mistake. Why would one commit a mistake? Because one is still not a pure devotee. There will be some imperfections in it, something lacking in it. And so many lifetimes we have been in this world, so it will always affect us in our thinking, feeling, walking. You know, those desires will keep coming to us. So they may overpower us. They may overpower us, and therefore there may be some mistake. Therefore, in the neophyte stage, we may always expect some discrepancies. So, some discrepancy is there in the neophyte stage. Kindly see. Yeah. Kindly see things in this light and forgive their small mistakes. The big thing is that they have given everything, even their lives, to Krishna, and that is never a mistake. Okay, because they have fully taken to Krishna consciousness, it's not a mistake. Okay. Any question or comment at this point? Any question or comment?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay. An awareness of what is best and most beautiful. This is another, in May of 74 in Rome, Srila Prabhupada met Mr. Desmond James Bernard O'Grady, a noted Irish poet. So he met a poet my request to you is that you're a poet, just describe God. You're expert in describing, and therefore I ask you to kindly describe God in your occupation. Then your life will be successful. So the gist of this thing is, whatever we may be doing, we have to dovetail it to in the service of Krishna, and that will be perfection of our occupation. Okay, that will be perfection of our occupation. Okay, I need two devotees, one to read Mr. O'Grady and another one to read Srila Prabhupada. Who will read Mr. O'Grady? Anyone?
Okay, Prabhu, I'll read.
And who will read Srila Prabhupada?
I will let Prabhuji.
Okay, okay. So start.
Your edition of the Bhagavad Gita is very nice.
It is the 5th edition in 2 years.
In which country has the Hare Krishna movement been the most successful?
Everywhere, in Africa, America, Canada, Japan, China, but actually it has been most successful in America. Many Americans have taken to Krishna consciousness.
What about here in Rome? Have you had problems with the police?
We have problems everywhere. Police sometimes harass us, but usually they become tired and eventually don't do anything. Haha.
The system give up. That's marvelous. I feel very tired of the system myself. Something is wrong with the present state of affairs. Maybe you can give me some advice on how to beat the system.
You Irish people, you are never tired of fighting.
No, it's inside us.
Actually, the fighting has been going on constantly.
Well, what do you suggest we do about it? I mean, is it morally correct for me to be sitting here?
As long as we remain illusioned by the bodily conception of life, thinking we are these bodies, one man thinking I am Irish, another thinking I am Italian, American, Indian, and so on, as long as this goes on, the fighting will go on. You cannot stop fighting between dogs and cats. Why do they fight? The dog simply thinks I am a big dog, and the cat thinks I am a big cat. In the same way, if we think I am an Irishman or I am an Englishman, then we are no better than the cats and dogs. As long as people remain in a bodily conception of life, there will be fighting.
What was Mahatma Gandhi fighting in the House of Commons?
That was another dogism. There is no difference. A dog thinks I am a dog because he has the body of a dog. If I am thinking that I am Indian because this body was born on Indian soil, then how am I different from the dog? The bodily conception of life is simply animalism. When we understand that we are not these bodies but are spirit souls, there will be peace. There cannot be any peace otherwise. So, ev go khara. The Vedic literature state that a person in the bodily concept of life is exactly like a cow or an ass. People have to transcend this inferior conception of the self. How is that done? Mam Mam cha yo vyabhicharen bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samattitvam brahma bhuya kalpate. One who engages in the spiritual activities of unalloyed devotional service at once transcends the modes of material nature and is elevated to the spiritual platform. Bhagavad Gita 14:26. In our society, there are many Mexicans, Canadians, Indians, Jews, and Muslims, but they no longer consider themselves Muslims, Christians, Jews, or whatever. They are all servants of Krishna. That is Brahman realization.
Yeah, wait. So here, Mr. Grady is Irish, and he's saying that should I fight with the system? The system has some problems. Then Prabhupada is saying that because everyone is having this identity and they are thinking they are different from other person, then it's like fighting like cats and dogs. But when we become free from this identity and we identify ourselves as servant of God or servant of Krishna, then that is Brahman realization. And when one gets Brahman realization, there is no fighting. But then Irishman is asking, this becoming servant of God is also giving a name. What is the difference then? Okay, read this.
Yes, a name must be there, but although, for example, your name is different from that of another Irishman, you nonetheless all feel that you are Irish. One's name may be different, but that does not matter. The quality should be one. That is required. When we acquire Krishna's quality, then despite different names, there will be peace. That is called so aham. The name of different people in a nation may be different, but all the people feel the same nationality. Varieties may exist, but if the quality is same, that is oneness, Brahma Bhuta.
Yeah. So what Prabhupada is saying is people may have different name, but if they are all Irish, then you feel connected, right? We may go to some another country, but the moment we see Indians, we feel connected to that person, right? Whether that person may be from South India, North India, East India, West India, wherever he, just because he's Indian, we will feel connected.
Yes, Prabhuji.
If you, yeah, you are from Canada. If you go to North Delhi and you meet another Kannada person, you will feel connected. You feel, oh, he's also Kannada, I am also Kannada. So the connection should be there. It should be one. What is that one? It should not be based on material identification. It should be based on spiritual identification. That is Brahma Bhuta. Okay? Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma na sochati na kankshiti sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhyate param. One who is thus transcendent situated at once. So if one is looking everyone as spiritual, then he becomes happy. He never laments nor desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to all living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. This world is miserable for materially infected persons, but for a devotee, the entire world is as good as Vaikuntha. For the impersonalist, achieving the Brahman stage, becoming one with the Absolute, is the last word. We'll continue. Continue this.
Yes, Prabhu. Is the absolute external or internal?
There is no external or internal. The absolute is without duality.
Okay. But
Okay,
on
well,
the,
let me explain you why he asked this question, external or internal. So, uh, so we all know that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharmam Padyajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. Right? That we have to surrender to Krishna. Okay? We know this, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So, one of the commentators and many commentators before, they say that when we have to surrender to Krishna, there is something within Krishna that we need to surrender, not to the external Krishna, but to the internal one whose we have to surrender. This is how they explain. So, therefore, many people have read those kind of books, and they think that the absolute nature is external or internal. Hmm? But Krishna's inside and Krishna's outside is same. Therefore, there is nothing like external or internal. Therefore, Prabhupada says there is no external internal. Absolute means which is without duality. Duality means what? Dual. Dual means
Two,
DUAL or two.
two sides.
So
Yeah.
absolute means there is nothing two in it. There is only one in it. Right? So it is internal and external is same. So when Krishna says, you have to surrender to me, we have to surrender to Krishna. And his internal and external is same. There's nothing like internal Krishna, external Krishna. No.
okay, but on an individual level,
We are not absolute. When we are situated on the absolute platform, we are absolute. However, now we are in the relative world. The absolute truth is here also, but our senses are not sufficiently elevated to understand that absolute truth. As long as we are under the control of time, there is no question of becoming absolute.
so absolute means life beyond time.
That is stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.9. Janma karm cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvata tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. That is absolute. Going back home, back to Godhead. As long as one is in the material world and identifies with this body, he transmigrates from one body to another. That is not absolute. That is clearly stated here. When one goes back to the spiritual world, he attains the absolute position.
Okay, just wait.
Yes. Shall we continue, Prabhu?
Wait, just
Okay.
wait. I'm sitting there. Okay, we'll stop here for today. Hmm?
Yes, Prabhu.
Uh, okay. Okay. So let's open up for some question or comment. Any question or comment?
One is, I wanted to probably ask this. Initially, there was a mention of the neophyte stage.
Hmm.
So, like, what are the other stages, and is it the first stage or this is the before neophyte also?
No, neophyte stage is there. Neophyte. Kanishtadikari. Yeah.
And the
So there is something
symptoms.
called as Kanishtadikari. then Madhyam Adhikari, then Uttam Adhikari. These are the first three stages. So this is the neophyte stage. So here, the faith is very fragile. It can be, disturbed. One is just started practicing. That is Kanishta Adhikari. And he's learning philosophy and all that. In Madhyam Adhikari, one is very good with philosophy. He is fixed in his faith. Okay. He can argue sometimes, and sometimes he may not be able to fully argue. Okay, but he won't lose his faith. Kanishta Adhikari may lose his faith. Madhyam Adhikari may not lose his faith, but he cannot win every argument. Okay, that can happen. Uttam Adhikari is the topmost. He can win every argument and he can give faith. What to talk about even losing? He cannot even lose faith. He will give faith to others. That is Uttam Adhikari. These are the three types. I think in Nectar of Instruction, we'll find this. Yeah, Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, Uttam Adhikari. The Kanishta Adhikari is a neophyte who has received Harinam incension, and then all this information is here.
Good moment.
Should I share here in chat or on WhatsApp? I'll share in WhatsApp. Okay, you can read more about this in the Nectar of Instruction. Okay. Okay. Any other question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So